What's good, y'all? It's that boy, Easy Millions, and I'm your host of that boy, ETV. You already know, man, we are back on Marvel Rivals, and here we are with another character breakdown. And as you can see in the background, it's for that boy, Magneto, baby. So let's get right into this. And again, we're talking about Magneto. He is a Vanguard tank with a difficulty of 2 out of 5. He has a base health pool of 650 and a movement speed of 6 meters a second, man. Now, Magneto is extremely difficult to kill, and he is one of the best in terms of protecting his enemies. Yes, he has a low base HP, but considering the amount of tools he has, this shouldn't be a problem. Additionally, even if he's the only tank on the team, you'll be fine because he has a shield that can block any attack. Moreover, his ultimate is very powerful and is perfect for controlling large areas. It's also almost impossible to deal with, so you won't have to worry about the enemy team deactivating it because it blocks all projectiles. The only significant disadvantage that Magneto has is his speed. If you can overlook the fact that he's slow, don't hesitate to give him a try, man. Now, Magneto is one of them characters where if you want to be a tank and you want to go ahead and be a front line and hold that point and be, while holding the point, protecting your teammates at the same time, Magneto is going to be your boy, man. Between all the shielding that he does, his decent health pool, it is kind of low, but when you mix it up with his shields, and as soon as you have halfway decent healers, you should be good to go, man. But again, he is going to be that frontline tank in the front holding down the point while placing down shields for himself and his allies, keeping everyone healthy, man. But let's get right into his normal attack, and that's going to be called Iron Volley. And with this, you fire a volley of magnetic orbs forward. The range of the resulting explosion increases based on the distance flown. This is a single cast projectile with delayed impact that also generates a spell field. The projectile speed will be 80 meters a second. The charges will be 10. The maximum distance is 25 meters. The range, initially, it produces a spell field with a 1 meter spherical radius. When the projectile reaches maximum distance, the explosion radius expands to the spell field with a 3 meter spherical radius. The attack interval is 0.8 seconds. And the damage, the projectile damage will be 35. The spell field deals 40 damage at its center, reducing to 50% within a 3 meter radius from the center, man. Now, as you can see when you're using this here, if you are hitting direct shots, you'll take about 4 hits to kill your 275, 250 base heroes to go ahead and get them up out of there. So this is very similar to how Groot's normal attack is. So it's pretty powerful here. You only need 4 hits in order to kill the squishies. Now, with this here, I will say that the firing speed seems a little slow, especially with the way people move around in the game. You might find yourself having some trouble hitting these shots at distance, and you will, in my opinion, be kind of thrown off by the maximum distance of the projectile, because you'll feel like you can shoot somebody and you'll feel like you're thinking you're shooting somebody when you're actually not. So be aware that there is a distance range on his normal attack, and it doesn't just go all the way across like most people's projectiles do, okay? It only goes to a certain distance and then explodes. So be aware of that and understand that if you're too far away from the fight, you cannot attack people with your normal attack. Other than that, it is very powerful. Again, I just wish that it attacked a little bit quicker. But other than that, it is very powerful, very decent tool. And for the most part, most people won't be full health when you run into them. So for the basic 275, 250 heroes, you only need about, I would say, between 1 to 3 hits, because most of the time they'll be somewhat low on health anyway. Now, let's get into his first ability here, which would be called Magnetic Descent. And with this, you hold the jump button to fall slowly. And the horizontal movement speed on this would be 6 meters a second. And the descending speed on this will be 3.5 meters a second. And as you can see, with this, when you jump off a high ledge or you're coming down out the air for some reason, you can use this and you will descend slowly, floating down. Now, again, a lot of characters have this, and this is good for certain characters, I believe. But for Magneto, not really sure if you'll ever truly be needing this, as I don't see you ever getting up into the air that often. You don't really have a move that brings you up in the air. You could go off like the little jump pads that are in the maps, but I don't really know if those will really do you any justice. Now, if you are getting popped up in the air by the enemy, you can float down slowly to avoid yourself from being popped up again. But other than that, the horizontal movement speed is about the same as your walking speed, so there's really no need to really look into this, but just know that it is there in case you need to use it. Now, we're moving on to his next ability here, which would be called Mag Cannon. And with this, they convert iron rings on Magneto's back into a mag cannon and launch a metallic mass forward. Higher stacks of rings increase damage, and full stacks knock back enemies. This is a single cast projectile with delayed impact. The projectile speed is 120 meters a second. The damage is iron rings first damage deal 40 damage. The second charge deals 65 damage. And the third charge deals 90 damage. The cooldown. There's no cooldown, but the ability can be activated when the iron ring has at least one charge. There's no critical hit on this. For special effect, when fully charged, the iron ring has a 6 meter knockback distance. And for some reason it doesn't list this, but the iron ring charging speed will be 4 seconds per charge, man. Now, as you can see with this here, when you have it fully charged and you shoot this, you will knock people back. And if you don't have it fully charged, you'll either be doing 40, 60, or 40 or 65 damage. Now, this ability here is primarily going to be used for those that are outside of your range of your primary attack, as this one doesn't have any maximum distance on it. So this projectile actually flies all the way across. So this one will be the one you primarily use when someone is far away from you, as your primary attack might not be able to reach them. Now, with that being said, this is also good for taking out weak enemies that are trying to run from you or get away. This way, as you hit them with your primary attack, say you run into like a Luna and you hit her 2-3 times, and she's trying to run away from you, she's outside the range of your normal attack, you can go ahead and use this attack to go ahead and get her finished off. So again, this attack here is for attacking those that are outside the range of your normal attack, and also to go ahead and pick off enemies and things of that nature. Other than that, the ring charge speed actually comes back fairly quickly. You won't really notice it taking too long when you're playing, and for the most part, you will have it fully charged all the time when you use this ability, unless you're just abusing it. So just kind of give it time to charge up. This way you get the most damage out of it, and then again, aim at those weak enemies that you're trying to pick off, or use it for enemies that are too far for your normal attack to reach, man. Now, we're going to get into these next abilities here, and they're similar in what they do, so I'm going to just go ahead and kind of read them both back to back. But the first one's going to be called Iron Bulwark, and with this, you conjure an iron shield around himself. Damage taken will transform into rings on Magneto's back. With this, the shield value will be 300. The max shield duration will be 2.5 seconds. The cooldown is 12 seconds, and sharing cooldown with Metal Bulwark. In the special effect, the shield grants 1 charge of Iron Ring for every 100 damage it absorbs. And the other ability that basically is the same thing is going to be Metal Bulwark. And with this, you conjure the metal shield around the chosen ally. Damage taken will transform into rings on Magneto's back. This is also a targeted casting. The maximum distance for this will be 20 meters. This shield also has a 300 value. The maximum shield duration is also 2.5 seconds. The cooldown is also 12 seconds, and it shares the cooldown with the Iron Bulwark. And the special effect, the shield grants 1 charge of Iron Ring for every 100 damage it absorbs. So as you see, when you pop either of these two abilities, you will either put a shield around yourself, or you'll put a shield around your teammates, allowing them to be protected from damage for a period of time. Any damage that you do take will transfer into the rings on your back, allowing you to use your mag cannon, so keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to this ability here is going to be 100% based on which person needs the shield most. Is it going to be you, or is it going to be your teammate? Because once you use this ability, either for yourself or your teammate, both of the abilities go on cooldown. So you cannot have 2 shields up at one time. Okay, you can either have 1 shield on yourself, or you can shield a teammate. You can't shield both. So be aware of that. Okay, be aware that that's how that works. Now, when it comes to this shield when I was playing him came in very, very handy. For example, if I was shielding my enemies, I was primarily putting shields on my dive characters as I saw them going off. This way they had a nice little protection as they were trying to make their way in to get that initial damage. Now, when I would use a shield for myself, would be in the middle of fights. If we're in the middle of a fight and I see the shield comes up, pop it on myself to go ahead and get myself that protection to keep myself alive. So again, when it comes to using these abilities correctly and properly, it depends on the users understanding who to shield and when to shield them, whether that's you or your teammates, man. But once you go ahead and master that, you will be on your way to being a Magneto main, man. Trust me. Now, getting to another ability here, which is going to be called Metallic Curtain. And with this, you change the magnetic field around to form a metallic curtain blocking all incoming projectiles. With this is a shield casting. The maximum energy will be 100. The energy cost is 50 a second. The energy recovery delay is 1 second. The energy recovery speed is 11 a second. And the cooldown is 3 seconds, man. Now, as you see, when you pop this here, you will pull a shield up above you that will block any incoming projectiles. Now, once this shield is broken, if you look to the right of your cursor, you will see a bar that shows you the recharge time of the curtain. Now, if you want to kind of wait for this to be fully charged, this way you get the most out of it. But if you can actually pull this out before it fully charges, you'll just have it for a shorter period of time. Now, this shield here is very similar to that of like Doctor Strange or Captain America, just not as good in my opinion, as both of their shields seem to last a little bit longer, and they have health pools instead of an energy cost or a time limit. So with Magneto, you can block all projectiles no matter the damage cost, but his thing only lasts a certain amount of time, opposed to Doctor Strange and Captain America's shields, whose last forever as long as their shields aren't broken. So again, just be aware that yes, Magneto's shield does not have a health pool, but it does have a time limit or an energy reserve. So it will go away after a period of time automatically, and then you have to wait a good period of time, in my opinion, for it to actually come back. So just be aware when you're using this that you are using this in the right situations, and you're not just throwing it out there for no reason. As again, if you lose it, you will be out of it for a while. So again, just make sure that you are paying attention and using this wisely, okay? You want to use this to shield yourself from people that are far out and things of that nature, man. But other than that, just make sure your managing of the curtain is on par. Now, the last thing we got to get into, as far as his abilities, is going to be his ultimate, and that's going to be called Meteor M. And with this, you draw in all materials around you to forge an iron meteor that deals massive damage upon impact. Absorbing enemy projectiles can enhance the meteor's power, yet overloading will cause it to self-destruct. This is a create a persistent spell field that launches a projectile upon completion, which generates another spell field on impact. Projectile absorption range is a 15 meters spherical radius. The projectile speed is 30 meters a second. The explosion range, initially the ability has a spherical range with a radius of 5 meters. After charging for 4 seconds, it expands to an 8 meter radius. The maximum duration will be 4 seconds. For the damage, the projectile deals no damage. The base damage at the center of the spell field starts at 100 and increases to 300 when fully charged. Each point of energy adds an extra 3 points of damage to the spell field, with damage reducing to 50% at a distance of 6 meters from the center. Energy cost to be 3,100, and for special effect, for each point of projectile damage absorbed, the power increases by 0.125, with the maximum absorption of 800 projectile damage, man. Now, as you see, when you pop this, you will fly up in the air and start creating a meteor above your head. Below you, you will see a ring around you, and this will show you all materials and projectiles within that ring that will be absorbed into your ultimate. Now, like it's stated in there, if you absorb too much damage, your ultimate will be destroyed and self-destruct. Now, what heroes are able to do this? So far, the only hero that I've truly been able to see do this is Punisher's ult. When you pop your ult, if Punisher's ult is going on, you will basically have to shoot this damn near instantly, as if you don't, Punisher's ult will destroy yours automatically, as it will be taking too much damage. Now, this ult is very good for sucking up Star-Lord's ult, as he does not put out damage fast enough. But if you hear Star-Lord and you're a Magneto, pop this ult, suck up all them projectiles he's shooting at you, and then return the favor by shooting your ult back at him and his team. So again, this ult here is very good because it can counter a lot of projectiles. I'm not sure if it works on Iron Man. I never got a chance to try that. I have not seen a clip of that, so I cannot sit here and tell you if it does or not. I should have went and tested it, but I didn't get a chance. But just understand, especially Star-Lord, but I know for a fact that Punisher can destroy this, so do not try to do this on Punisher's ultimate unless you're just trying to hurry up and shoot out your ult with the quickness, man. Now, the last thing we got to talk about is going to be his team-ups, and that's going to be called Metallic Fusion. And with this, Scarlet Witch can infuse Chaos Energy into Magneto's enhance his greatsword. Upon receiving the Chaos Energy, Magneto can unleash his full force, striking down enemies with his enhanced greatsword, man. This is a grant ability casting. The attack interval, the first 2 stages each take 0.65 seconds, while the third stage takes 0.954 seconds. Projectile speed will be 80 meters a second. The range is a 3-meter spherical radius. The damage is a projectile damage of 60, with a spell field damage of 35. The duration is 10 seconds, and your cooldown is 30 seconds, man. And as you see with this team up, she infused you with her Chaos Energy, and she takes your melee greatsword and makes it an ability. When you pop it, you will be swinging this greatsword while shooting out a projectile at the same time. Now, it seems to me when I was using this that I was actually trying to hit people with the sword itself, but I believe you're actually supposed to hit them with the projectile instead. So make sure when you're aiming this, you're aiming for the projectile, not the sword itself, because I don't believe that you actually hit with the sword. So just be aware of that. Other than that, this team up is actually very underrated in my opinion, as it gives Magneto a very, very strong ability, and it allows him to be teamed up with Scarlet Witch, who in my opinion is kind of underrated as a character, especially since most people on here just want to look at YouTube and go based off that, man. But Magneto, in my opinion, is definitely one of them frontline tanks that could be out there holding the front lines for you while keeping himself and his teams shielded up and healthy, man. It does take a good Magneto to understand when to shield and who to shield, but if you take your time out with him, you will learn this and become a Magneto main with the quickness, man. Other than that, he has a very good primary attack that kills squishies fairly easily. It just has a slow fire speed in my opinion. Other than that, all the rest of his abilities are pretty cool, including his team-ups, man. But this has been another one of them character breakdowns, and I hope y'all enjoyed that, man. But as always, please like, comment, subscribe, follow, share, become a supporter, and catch me streaming on Facebook Gaming and Twitch at ThatBoyETV. Now, let's get into, catch you on the next one. I'm out. Peace.